Where is that?
Welcome to the. All right, you're on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, everyone, this is our caucus agenda for this evening. Let's have the standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Rosanna.
Here.
Mr. Esposito.
Here.
Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mr. Ward.
Here.
Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Mr. Bogart.
Here.
Mayor Lewis.
Here. During the meeting, I may be standing and sitting. I can't sit for a long period of time due to my recent surgery. Okay. Minutes of the August 25th to September 3rd City Council meeting is going to be provided to everyone by email. First thing we have on our agenda this evening is a presentation by Ms. Lombardo for our 2026 Back to the 50s weekend. So come on up, tell us, yes, that's what we're going to be doing because you did such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
The last one, we all had a great time.
Good,
We
good.
really commend you for bringing it back, I can tell you that.
It was fun.
Thank
Just to make it easy. Thank you.
Hello?
Oh, yes. I didn't know how many.
Sure.
Thank you. Got the award. Okay. Well, as you know, we did the event. It was a success, thank God, my daughter and I. We enjoyed it. It was emotional, as I said a million times, but we did it. So we're ready to go through next year. And I do want to request that we can have it over Labor Day. I feel that cooler weather a little bit, and not as much going on around during the 4th of July. I'm requesting September 5th and 6th. You know, I think it would be better. I think we'll get more people, more vendors, things like that.
Yeah, July 4th is always really busy.
Yeah, I mean, I know we had it for 30 years over the 4th. Things change. It just seems like there's so much more going on. I also am requesting to see if possible that we could get another reduction in our rental fee with that. Because of the extra things that we have to cover, we have to pay for the event. I also want to see if we, for the past, 3 years, we had to pay a deposit. I mean, I've gotten it back, thank God. I'm very, critical as to what the park looks like when we're done with it. I make sure it's clean, when it's given to us. I make sure it's perfect when we give it back. So if the deposit can be omitted, and then, let's see, last year, thank God Brian let us use some golf carts, which helped. He got them, I believe, from Sylvan Heights. And then he let us also use, I think it's called the dumper cart for the garbage. We have to get a dumpster. He was kind enough to let us use his the little cart. And
Ken,
yeah,
we could probably let you use a couple of carts for transportation.
yes, I know we talked about that because that was a huge complaint.
Well, if you think about it, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
But if you think about it, most people who come to these are really older people. And it's hard for them to walk down that hill. So
Yes.
the liability exists both ways. It
Exactly,
exists of
yeah.
people walking down that hill and falling.
Yeah.
And so we can assist you.
And I appreciate that. I don't know how that works. I know my insurance is very strict on the liability end of it. And I would have to have someone drive it that is, safe to drive, and so that God forbid nobody falls off of it. So I would definitely look I'd love to look into that to see.
Just let us know.
Absolutely, that would be huge. And basically everything else on the notes that I put, are the same as always. I just wanted to clarify that. Another thing that I'm kind of kicking around, if it's possible, if we could do, years ago, and maybe Stephanie would remember, we used to do a 3 or 5 year contract, so that I'm not here every year bugging you guys. That's something that actually I forgot to put on there.
What are you looking for, 3 or 5?
3 is good. Well, I mean, the longer the better, then I don't have to bother you. But, and that's not gonna make or break it. These are my main things with the rental fee, the golf carts, and the deposit.
Right. Okay.
And that's basically it.
We'll discuss all this and we'll get back to you real
Yeah,
soon. Obviously, we know, we think it's early, but it really isn't.
No, to me, it's not.
Takes
I've
a lot of
already,
Takes a lot of
I'm
work.
already starting. We have to, because you gotta get the vendors.
Sure.
I rely on sponsors, the donations and things like that, so I started.
And it is Labor Day, and you gotta get your vendors ahead of time.
Yeah. Yeah, because Labor Day would be that Monday the 7th, I believe. And that was another thing, instead of doing it a Friday, Saturday, I wanted to go back to Saturday, Sunday. More people, that's it.
Hey,
The floor plan, if it's gonna stay the same, right?
Absolutely.
hey, again, we really appreciate your commitment to this, we do.
Thank you.
It's so important for this community to have things like that, because it brings the mood up.
Yes.
And, we can just do so much, but when individuals like you step up and take this on top of your shoulders, we really appreciate it. So we'll talk together on this and we'll get back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
But do you want this on the agenda for next week?
Sure.
We'll see ready by then.
It won't be ready by
I
next
don't
week?
think, no, we have to discuss, right?
Oh, well, okay, well, it'll be ready by the October meeting for sure. Right, Ted?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not
As long as you
till, I'm just saying that that's not till October 23rd.
Yeah, I know. Well, we could, we'll talk to everybody and
I
see
mean,
what
I'm
they
just,
say.
I know I did pencil her in the book for those days, though, just
Okay,
that
well,
we
yeah.
didn't.
Well, that's fine.
But, anything else?
Talk about it, especially since.
We'll talk about it then, and then we can let her know what we think.
Can I at least add, I'm sorry, if anything, could I at least have the dates? I mean, as far as the small print,
She said she already did.
I
Okay,
did
so
put the
again,
dates
so I
in
can
the
start
book.
to add them.
Yeah, I mean, I did put the dates in the book just because it is.
I mean, the
Labor Day.
others,
Okay.
the small stuff.
Yes,
Thank
okay,
you.
thanks, guys.
I did.
Okay, under public comments, please, limit your comments to what's on the agenda. I have, 2 proposals for public comments. Dante Therese, you're up first.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We all heard the story
Hey,
about
Dante,
the,
could you, your address and?
Oh.
Yes,
okay,
your name,
right. Meaning,
your name and your address.
okay, Dante Therese, my street address, the whole thing? Okay, 1329 East Washington Street.
Thank you, it's for the record.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I didn't know that, and I didn't, okay. First time speaking, in case it's not obvious. All right, I know we all heard about the how the police had to chase 2 people into the post office and how they got them on the roof and stuff like that. And we've also heard about how there was someone found in the St. Francis building and things like that. One of my concerns as I go around the town and report on things and stuff is that these vacant buildings are not secured. And I've had the honor of speaking to a few realtors sometimes when I've wanted to see the inside of certain buildings and stuff. And some of them tell me that they send their staff out every day to check and see that the plywood and the doors are sealed on the places. And because they don't want someone going in there and overdosing, or they don't want our search and rescue people put in harm's way, which is really what happened at those two police had to go through a building which is not safe. And that, you know, when we send them into these situations that are not safe like that, I mean, we're, you know, it's you know, they could obviously get hurt and things like that. Could we, as a city, you know, just try to help out our rescue workers and see that these buildings are shored up better? I mean, I'm downtown, you know, about 4 days a week, and the post office, I mean, all the street level windows and stuff, I mean, you could fit an adult through there. And I do see people coming in and out of it and stuff. And, you know, we don't wanna put our rescue workers in harm's way. There are several of these vacant buildings, we all know what they are and stuff, that are just simply not secure. And there have been fires and other things at them. So that's my plea.
Thank you. Any comments from council? Dante, you make a great point, you're right, and this is something that we work on and we move on every day. We do order fines on these, on a lot of these things, people don't believe that, but we do. Additionally, the St. Francis Hospital is a real thorn in our side. The owner there is living in Florida, and his company who owns St. Francis is now in bankruptcy. So for us to pierce that corporate veil, because there's nothing we would like better than to tear it down.
Well, really, I know there's a lot of these things that are, and you have to jump through certain hoops
Yes.
before you tear things down or before you take them back, because you don't wanna put the city in like a position to be sued or anything like that. But for me and for some of the other people who talk to me and stuff, they're all concerned that, you know, that our rescue workers and stuff are being asked to go into a place that is structurally unsound or unsafe, and it would just take plywood and, you know, whatever, but I mean, these have to be shored up. I mean, kids can get in there too, it's not just, you know, and, you know, you see it, I mean, so.
We actually we discussed this with Paul Lynch, who owns the post office at length, and he's certainly aware of the issue. And actually, I have a meeting with him tomorrow on the post office, and I will let him know. I didn't realize it was that. You did remind me about that incident.
No, I see.
I've been kind of incapacitated.
No,
You did remind me about that incident, so we'll make sure that is boarded and secure.
Yeah, they have to board, there's several
No doubt.
buildings, but
It's
definitely.
the law.
Thank you,
It's the law.
okay.
You know, Dante, when we have, like code enforcement committee meetings, code enforcement tells us that they have at times secured the plywood, even with fasteners that aren't common like a regular screw. And, the people that break in have special tools to get past those fasteners.
No, I
So it's like chasing, your tail kind of thing.
It is, but I know that, like I said, like some of the realtors that I touch base with, like some of them send their staff to look at their buildings every day. But the post office windows, those same windows have been busted now for about 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
And I do see people going in and out.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would want to go in there. We went in there, what was it, 2 months ago? 2 months ago, and John David Luongo, our CDC director, and myself both got bronchial infections from being in there.
Yeah, well,
That's
I
how
mean,
bad it is.
the thing is the, you know, the Shenango, China, they had the fire there, that was caused by people being in there that were not supposed to be in there. And what that does is, once again, is it puts our rescue workers and stuff in harm's way.
No doubt.
These buildings have to, you know, we all preaching to the choir here, right? But I mean, the buildings have to be secured because we're asking them to put their lives on the line every day for us, but the owners of the buildings aren't gonna do it. We have to like help them out.
Chris, is our code enforcement inspecting these buildings to make sure that they're secured from entry from the street level?
Yes, we submit, they submit regular board and secures for residential property. If they're privately owned, we go for them. If we get them the lumber and secure, but as Dave said, oftentimes, you'll get back around to the house and they're already plowed off or something like that, so. We do regular board and secure. I understand the buildings that you're talking about.
Yeah, the
are a
post
lot
office is
larger,
2 years for
So,
the windows.
we'd have to see what they can do that. The back window's been secured and ripped off several times, so.
We asked them to make that priority, right now to just kind of head it to both of the, especially both of these properties, and then do it, yeah.
We're talking about the post office, shouldn't we have this in this situation where we already paid for the board members?
That's what I was saying, any report.
Well, no, the window, specifically the window across from the Y, I mean, that's been open now for 2 years. The one around the side, you know, on the opposite side, people crawl in and out of that all the time, that's been like that for 2 years. There's many access points, if you go, I did shoot it once, you know, north, south, east, west, 2 years ago, and those access points are all still open. So, you know, but asking our rescue workers to go into their, you know, if he's not gonna secure it, I mean, hopefully, I know there's legal hoops you have to jump through, but hopefully the city can at least secure it, so that way we're not putting our rescue workers in harm's way.
We'll take care of it, Mr. Lynch, I can assure you that.
Okay,
We'll take care of it.
thank you.
Thank you, Dante, appreciate your comments. Nancy, Lynette, on, our, let's see, Pasket NPR on our First Merit site.
Thank you so much.
It's actually a copy.
Updated version of what they showed us.
I'm Nancy Lynette, with Passion NTR, 1615 East Ohio Street, in Pittsburgh. Passion NTR is a site and recreation design and planning community firm in the north side of Pittsburgh. I actually live in Beaver, and our firm has actually done quite some work in the city, and I actually have relatives that live here. But we're talking about, you referenced it as the First Merit site, the site's along Apple Way. We presented a proposal. We also had previously presented some qualifications on us, showing some example projects. I didn't reprint that. If you need copies, I believe we have those.
We have copies.
So what's in front of you is an updated proposal, and I'll explain a little bit about it. I'll just talk a little bit about our firm. We've been in business for, gosh, I can't even tell you how long. I've been there almost 37 years, so, and I'm one of the principals there. We do a variety of projects. We do site design. We're landscape architects and community planners. Most of what we do has nothing to do with plants, and I don't think that's what we do. We do more site design, and we've done it for a lot of different clients and project types, including municipalities all across the state. Including, as I mentioned, past work for the city of Newcastle. I believe there was a playground project that we had done a few years back. Most of what we do is actually contained in the ideas of the sketches of the park that we saw showed. So we have designed almost every single one of those types of elements in different projects, and most of them have gone through up to or into construction. So most of them were built. So one of the things that we also do is we take a look at maintenance so that the city has an idea of what you will be looking at moving forward in terms of budgeting, how to maintain the project. This updated proposal, basically, it relabels it as a project investigation and revised concept phase, which basically what we'll do is we'll take the initial concepts, look at it over a survey that your city engineer would prepare, and really kind of flush it out on that as a layout, and talk to you and discuss things of what we think want to be in that park. And then we would prepare a detailed cost estimate, and we can look at it based on phases. We can look at it at that point to see what you might want to do as a first phase of construction based on the budget that you have. This proposal purposely doesn't include construction documents for bidding, because I think we're one step before that. I think we need to identify what it is that it would be the most appropriate to do with the budget that you have, and might be the most appropriate for the community to use. And so that's kind of why we think we need to take that little step back, so we revise this proposal to assume that. And to do this, you know, we would need to be going pretty quickly here in this process, so that by the end of next year, you could, there could be a construction project designed and built and that money expended, which was my understanding of when that had to be. As I mentioned, this includes kind of an initial investigation and concept modification phase, because there were some concepts done already. Again, not construction documents. I mentioned about doing a very detailed cost estimate. That again helps us and helps you kind of see what costs are. It's amazing how expensive things are anymore when it comes to construction. So we've seen that. We bid projects, you know, almost monthly. And we see what comes in, you know, on a regular basis. And then that would allow you all to kind of carve out a piece of that meets that budget for that first phase of construction. And then we would love to be part of that, preparing those construction drawings for you. We can submit a proposal then to do that, once we know what it is we would be designing. So that's kind of why it's not in here now. And yeah, that's sort of where we are.
So Nancy, so that I know, the council will jump in here, so just for our knowledge, what you do is, and I'm thinking, speaking with Mr. Esparza, what you do is you basically set up the landscaping and the form for our idea at First Merit. For instance, we want to put cafe containers and a few other things there.
Right.
And you will be doing all of that and setting up that is conducive to making that happen. Is that accurate for me to
Well,
think
what
that
it
way?
would be is, the end product of this initial phase would be a drawing that is using a survey, because right now, that was not based, those concepts were not based on a survey. We'll see, you know, what sort of, like I'm thinking that your engineer would be part of this process in identifying what we're looking at in terms of utilities that might need to be extended. But we would actually have a pretty detailed drawing in CAD that shows, you know, the footprints of exactly what we're looking at. And looking at, I mean, the sites are pretty flat, so there's really not grading wise. We would look at, we would look at stormwater management. You wouldn't be hitting the NPDES permit requirement, but, you know, so that we have a really good understanding of what is needing to be done, and then we would carve out, and the detailed cost estimate, I think, is as important, because first of all, it'll give you an idea of what it might cost to do all of it, and see whether or not that's something that, you know, is appropriate, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then how that can be done in phases, including that first phase of what you said.
So in thinking about the project that we want to do there, normally in your world, in your line of work, what you do has to happen first. Is that accurate?
That is my understanding, my suggestion on this project, yes, and that's normally how we do things in projects like this.
Okay.
It just so happens that you guys have a sketch. Sometimes there are no sketches. You know, there are no starting points, but that's a great starting point, because it's, you know, it's well thought out, and I think that this will help get us to that first phase of construction, because right now, you know, we can't estimate something from a design standpoint unless we know exactly what we're designing, because it varies considerably.
Council, anybody in administration question?
Nancy, so if we move forward, when it comes down to, will you be talking to our city engineer to get that
Yes.
survey corrected and
Yep.
kind of created?
Yep.
That way you can start working on that.
Yes, yeah, we actually, we can provide a survey request, and if we even send it today, we have a pretty standard survey request on what we need. We need, you know, into the roadways, getting those utilities so we can see where they connect, or, you know, what's available. And then your engineer would look at the capacities of them, base it on, and see whether they're sufficient enough to, you know, to serve what would be proposed there, right?
And then in regards to the timeline, I know that you said that, looking forward to having a full construction plan by the end of next year.
It would have, well, my understanding is if the funds have to be expended by the end of next year, then this first initial phase would have to be done literally in a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then, once the first phase is carved out and decided on, we can estimate what our fee might be for that. And then we can prepare those construction drawings. It's gonna happen quickly in time to be bid. And it depends on what it is that, what the total scope is. You know what I mean? You almost have to be under construction by the beginning of summer, and that's not that far away.
Yeah, that's what I.
The only good thing is your sites aren't that big, so when I say it's not kicking you into the MPDS permit, that's for sites over an acre or disturbance over an acre. I don't see that happening. I see some site preparation happening, some like geotech testing done to see what's under there, because I understand, there might be some fill that might not be compacted, and that would be part of, you might spend, a decent part of that budget on that. It just depends on what it is. And then from there, again, like I think that's where that detailed cost estimate will come in, because we can kind of, I think your engineer had been involved in those sites at one point with those demolitions, so they can, estimate what we anticipate, or what they might anticipate based on borings that are done, or get done. What would be assigned to value-wise, cost-wise, to, make sure that that site is stable to accept future construction.
And Chris, we have like paperwork in regards to the civilization and like compacting soil, right? Because like, didn't we use?
We have the engineer from the demolition.
Yeah.
Yeah, our engineers, RAR was the engineer for the demolition.
So they'll be able to have.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's assuming that it was done that way. So if they have if they monitored construction and made sure that it was done that way, a geotech report, a few borings will tell you that.
Yeah, because I believe that when we did move forward with that demolition, that was a requirement.
Yeah, it should have, it should have been.
In the compacting of the soil to
Yeah.
make sure that we were preparing it for future development.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. It should have been done that way. They would have drawings that would show that. The question is, was it done? Because the last thing you want to do, if, let's just say that that's the part of the site that you want to end up building on the
Yeah.
first, you just want to make sure that it's not messed up.
So we had an inspector there that.
I remember.
Okay, that's great. That's
But
great.
we didn't have, that's what I just want to make sure that was confirmed.
And another advantage that going through this process is that the documents that they will prepare, the estimate that they will prepare is very valuable with regard to going to agencies for potential grant money. Because it shows a well thought out process. When I presented the sketch that I did, if you remember, I was very careful to say this is only a concept. It's an idea. What Patrick will do is it will test that idea and prove that it's either right or wrong, and give justification for a granting agency to fund this. So it'll be very valuable information when we'll spend the ARPA money that is remaining to begin the first phase, but that money won't be enough to do the whole site. So we'll want to reach out to DCNR or somebody like that grants civic spaces in the state, and we'll want to have justification for that. And Pashik has a history of working with them.
All the time. We're doing one right now.
So it should really help to get more aid from other agencies.
Right, and I'm glad I meant to mention that, because you are gonna need that, and it, ideally, you would wanna kind of look at what grants are available, what avenues are available, and get them in really quickly and start planning for that, because those take a while to get that money, to keep this moving. And a cost estimate and a plan is the first thing that they look for.
Nancy, thank you so much. Dave will keep the lines of communication
Okay.
open. I
Great.
know you guys have a working relationship, so that's a big advantage for us. So, yeah, we will be contacting.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Okay, planning commission report, subdivision plan for Petra and Strangel, this has been going on forever. Public hearing day, we can do this next week. Steph?
No, we gotta do it, you need more days to advertise, you could do it October 16th, because that's the next topic.
October 16th at 5:30.
Well, you also
Yeah.
have that conditional use, so
Oh,
you
for
can do
Nico
them both,
Bailey?
but I don't know how long that will take.
All right, let's do Patrick at 5:30 and this, and Nico Peggy at 5:45.
I would do both, the subdivision won't be long, so, conditional use, I think you could do them both. Do the
5:30.
subdivision at 5:30 and conditional use at 5:35.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Or just, I'll just advertise at the same time,
This
that's
is
what I
going on.
want
Okay,
to
that'll-
do, and then we just,
We said the
Do it simultaneous.
16th.
yeah, so that'd be 10/16.
10:16.
10/16.
We have no petitions to vacate streets or alleys. There's no request of bids. Bids received and open, there are none. None billed by administration. Under resolutions for consideration, we have depository properties. These are attached for your review. If there's any questions, now is the time.
Am I correct in reading this, that none of these are requests submitted paperwork, except for one?
Thomas and Moody's, the other one we did. So, yeah, correct.
See here.
I see one, right? Is that all? No, there's a couple, yeah. Okay, is this for next meeting? Okay, next week, okay. Very good. Okay, the East Long Avenue, address, just to bring everybody up to date, resolution was authorized the individual designated by the charter, enter agreement with the redevelopment authority of Lawrence County for funds to assist with moving the structure located at 527 East Long Avenue. That structure has been demolished through an emergency demolition, thankfully. The city will be eventually reimbursed by the redevelopment authority, and then the redevelopment authority then puts a lien on that property. That's how it works. It had to be demolished and we had to get it done. And I can't imagine anybody not being happy about that piece of property not being done. Okay, First Marriage Site, we just heard from Ms. Mary for the resolution to hire their company. We'll discuss that at our next meeting. Okay. Purchase requests, there are none. There's no resolutions on the table. Ordinances for consideration. The Public Works Committee would like to recommend the City Council consider creating an ordinance prohibiting the posting or displaying of propaganda, marketing materials, and similar signage on poles within the city of Newcastle. Any questions or comments on that?
One thing, was this committee? Good.
Yeah, so the committee actually talked about this and it came to a point where just the city itself is getting bombarded with a lot of this propaganda all over the city in general. So we wanted to kind of just bring it up to council that we are recommending to create an ordinance to kind of alleviate some of that for multiple reasons. One, the aesthetic of our city looks awful with having all that signage all over the place. But number two as well, it can become hazardous in general. So we want to make sure that obviously we have no problem with having that.
The only thing is it would have to be content neutral in that, you can't allow it pretty much for any reason. So you can't just say that, propaganda or, certain ads. So it would have to just go ahead and say that.
Well, when you say our poles, what do you mean, like stop signs and things like that?
Yeah.
Telephone poles?
Yes.
Telephone
Well, there
poles,
shouldn't be
light
anything on those
poles,
things anyway.
light poles, right?
They are.
Right.
There, so we have the right to, and I'm just asking, like, for example, in front of my house, on a utility pole, they put like yard sale signs. So this would be like, even on utility poles, correct? Like, you could put that stuff anywhere.
Correct.
Okay. That's good, cause I hate those ones.
Yeah,
that
well, I
sell
was gonna say,
houses
did you
for less.
wanna make any exceptions for like a 2 or 3 day, like yard sign or yard sale, or no, none at all? And then part of me wonders, I mean, for our zoning ordinance, just already driving
Yeah,
it.
we looked into it.
Really?
Yeah, we don't have any. The problem is that if we start making exceptions.
That's fine, I just
Then
want that.
there's gonna come a point when, you know, when we're gonna have meetings and people are gonna come. If we just make it a general rule, you know, you can stake something in the yard, you know, kind of just promote people to do that, create some sort of advantage that they can hold, but the idea that you can just staple it to a pole and just leave it there for
Years.
months and stuff, it's getting to a point where it just looks awful.
I agree.
Well, I agree with I think what Ted is saying, that you're gonna have people that have yard sales that are gonna take offense to a ordinance that says they can no longer put up a sign for 2 days for a yard sale
Yeah,
for 1
but
day.
I think the point is,
What Public Works is complaining about is that we have businesses, for-profit businesses, that now have been, some of the utility poles look like a totem pole. The sign starts 2 feet off the ground, and there's one above it, another one, another one, as high as you can reach. And then they're up there forever. And I think that's the intent of the ordinance, is to try and limit that.
well, and again, that's a good point, but, sometimes they put those yard sales up on those poles and they're up for months.
Well, they forget to take it
Yeah, they
down.
gotta take them down, obviously, I mean, they can put them up in their yards, but I.
Well, the other thing you could do is if you wanna say that if you're considering a temporary, a day or two, you can make them come get a permit,
Yeah.
pay a deposit, and if they don't take it down, then we keep the deposit
Sure.
too. You could do something like that, if you were inclined to do something like that. What's that? I agree, but you don't have to require a permit, but if you,
Again, I think it's just general, it's better off if we just say no all around and avoid exceptions, because then that's when the waters get muddy.
well, you can't accept it for a yard sale anyhow, you'd have to say a temporary sign for 2 days, so, yeah, so. So what's the majority, because I can draft the ordinance, but no exceptions?
You want to run our
I'll get
introduction,
it, as soon as I get it done.
October,
As soon as I get it, if I can get it done, we can have this next week.
so I'll just make a note for Sierra to see Jeff.
So no exceptions? Okay,
Yeah, it
all
should
right.
be on the poles, I don't think anything should be.
That's fine.
Okay, ordinance is on the table. Coming up is the Council Bill 25-10, it's a handicap parking space for the residents located at 17 West Harris Avenue. And this will be, voted on, next week.
Well, it could be introduced next week.
Will it be introduced? No, it was already introduced by Mr. Ritter at the 8:25.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong line. Yes, it could be adopted next week, correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, under discussion, the refunding, the restructuring, and potential bank loan bond issue. That's you, Chris.
Yeah, we've had several discussions with the, stifle, they're working on right now, putting together a funding proposal for us, for the city, and reaching out to banks to see who's interested. We don't have anything for this next meeting. Stephanie did talk to them today, and they're still waiting on, calls to come back, but just to refresh your memory, we're looking at, about a $3 million bond, bank loan. The bank loan would include, items that are currently on our capital list to pay off. Those would include the fire truck that we got a few years ago, the sweeper that we got a few years ago. So those will be coupled into that. In addition to that, will be the roof of this building, and the top one.
Brick point.
Brick point.
Brick point.
He's a construction guy. Repointing of this building, because those are some of the main items that are immediate needs to secure this building. And then outside of that, the funds will be, there wouldn't be much remaining, because we have the budget. So, roof and repointing. Yeah, possibly redoing this to make it, continue to keep it secure, but whether it be extending the window or remodeling it so we have vegetables for people to come into. And another possible, depending on the funds, would be code cars are going through it right now, so we own those outright, but to look at potentially upgrading that fleet.
Okay, questions?
Hypothetically, that's a lot of improvement for this building. How come the discussion of relocating hasn't come up?
Because it would cost a heck of a lot more than $3 million.
You think so? To relocate?
I think so.
Absolutely.
Put $3 million into this building is crazy.
Remember about half of that 3 million though is restructuring of existing debt. So basically you're thinking about $1.5 million.
Right.
So you're right, David, it would be about $1.5 million to renovate this building. The other stuff is just restructuring current loans that we already have on the books.
So hypothetically, could we take that 1.5 million and relocate? Why couldn't we do that?
What would you do with this building?
We could figure that out like we're doing with the rest of our buildings right now.
This building will end up like the post office.
We're not that private entity though. I'm pretty sure we'll be a little bit more aggressive with that building.
Yeah, it's just as well, you have to think about, the 1.5 is just to purchase the building, but we also do need to make it livable. So obviously, everything that we will need will also cost us money. So I think it's a conversation we should have, kind of privately and then kind of really hash in the numbers and truly identify, like, is it gonna be most costly to relocate somewhere? Because I mean, a building to buy anywhere is over $1 million. And then obviously we have to make
Then you gotta renovate.
offices and everything that,
And I'll tell you what I'm not for right now. I'll tell you this right now. I am not gonna commit another empty, huge building in our downtown. I will not be the problem that we fight every day. Will not. So until somebody says, hey, we'll buy City Hall from you guys, then we can talk. Till that happens, there's no way I'll support any move.
So we're gonna keep putting money into the building like year after year. Like let's just say 5 years from now, something else goes and now we gotta put another 1.5 into it.
Listen, you own a home, I own a home, everybody owns a home. Yeah, you upkeep it all the time. That's what you have to do. It's part of owning a building.
I hear you. I hear you.
You never build a new house? Mr. Alisco?
No.
Did you ever build a new house?
No.
Okay. There's options to build a new house, and there's a reason for building a new house, because it's new. This place is an embarrassment. Okay? I've been coming down here since 1960, when my father was on city council. It didn't look like this then. It's an embarrassment for the city of Newcastle that we have a building like this. You got an air conditioner that's 50 years old or whatever it is. It's an embarrassment, and people look at that. They look at it. They look at how you dress. They look at how you act. And this building, it had its time. But now, we get this, let's see. PNC is pretty nice, isn't it? You been in it, David, right? Went to the bank, looked at it, talked to it, it's pretty nice. It's just that this is an embarrassment to the city. That's my feelings.
I couldn't disagree more.
I'm sure you couldn't.
I couldn't disagree more.
From an administrative standpoint, obviously we work here every day, so I think securing the building, at least the roof, so we can operate in the right way, and then whether we look at other building expenses to upgrade other areas of it, I think we will address the primary concerns. We looked at several buildings, and you're all right, both on to relocate and the ones that want to stay. We've looked at several buildings throughout the town, and the only ones that are adequate would cost an enormous amount of money for us to move into, at least the ones we've looked at. So our options, we have options, but the immediate option is, to serve the taxpayers the proper way, we need to make arrangements for this building, whether we stay or whether we go.
especially that vestibule, I mean, having 7 people there to pay their taxes.
It's not fair. It's not fair to the constituents and it's not fair to my staff. That was done because we had to. It was temporary, it was COVID, we had security issues. Chris did what he absolutely had to do, but if it's going to be permanent, we've gotta make it
It
more
needs to be more.
suitable for everyone.
Absolutely, yeah.
People that work here every day and the people that are coming in, it's not fair for people to stand in that little tiny sardine tin
Yeah.
to pay their tax.
Agree.
Okay.
And Harry, I wanna say too, because I know you questioned the bank loan versus the bond. Right now, we're going the bank loan route because it's cheaper as far as additional fees and because the feds decreased the interest rate for the first time yesterday in 9 months. loan is gonna be favorable if we can get banks to like our setup. If that doesn't work, we're gonna have to go back and look at a bond issue. A bond issue is a little bit more costly and it's a little bit more time consuming. We're gonna have to get re-rated. It takes a little bit longer. So we're trying to do it this way first because it's a little quicker and it'll save money in the long run.
Okay, thanks, Beth. Under B, request of Richard Morgan to place a double-wide manufacturing home trailer on his property at 104 North Scott Street. Required resolution.
There's a letter that was sent, I believe, in your packet. He sent a letter requesting this. And if this is something you want to allow, Sierra told me that we would have to have a resolution passed.
Didn't we already deny a similar property like this, like a year ago?
I thought so.
I think we have to stay consistent with these.
If you're not gonna do it, I don't think you have to take any action at all. It's just if you wanted to do it, you have to stay.
Yeah, North Scott Street, I'm telling you, that's Croton, right? You're familiar with this area, right? North Scott, is there a lot of residents there?
That's close to Lockwood School too.
Yeah, alright. Okay.
So no action, I just want
No.
to put on. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's a little bit much. Okay, under executive session, I believe you have something.
Just one thing, the public works
Personnel.
negotiations.
No litigation, contract, we have some discussion, and no sale lease of property. So our next meeting is next Thursday, September 25th at 5:45, and our public meeting will occur at 6 p.m. So, Madam Judge,